Hey everybody, welcome to the Smart Girls Podcast.
I'm Shay.
And I'm Jess, and we're already laughing because today's episode is about embarrassing moments.
Yep.
And it's actually rooted off of, we got inspired from the Knowing What to Say book from Smart Girls Guide. And what I love about this book, Shay, it's like what to say in all the hard situations, including the embarrassing ones, which we're pretty good at.
Yeah, we are. We've had our fair share of embarrassing moments, I'd say.
But just because we've been sharing it with each other as we prep for this episode. But what I think is so important about embarrassing moments, first of all, is realizing everybody has them, right?
Oh, absolutely. We're all human, duh.
Celebrities, they're just like us.
Oh my God.
But it's true. I think we think sometimes, like, obviously when something silly or embarrassing happens to us and we feel ashamed or any of that, we always think it's only our experience. But clearly we know people fart, trip, spit things out their nose,
spill things on their
spill
shirts,
things on themselves.
Yeah.
So there's big and there's small embarrassments, aren't there?
I completely agree. I think the small ones are often the ones that we can brush off more easily because it's just kind of, oh, why did that happen? Or, oh, that's funny. And then the big ones that make you feel like you want to cry or go into a hole are really hard to get over sometimes. But I think we've been talking about how later down the line, when it's been years after the event, you can laugh at it finally.
And you have a good story to tell at parties.
Exactly.
Or on a podcast, which we're going to do today.
Yes.
But the small things that we were talking about, the small moments, you said a really funny one, which is like what you say to the person at the movie theater.
Yeah, so this happens nearly every time I go to the movie theater, actually, which is so funny because I'm so aware of it and I get so embarrassed. But it's like when you're getting your ticket checked and they're like, oh, enjoy your movie. I almost always say, you too. They're not watching the movie.
I do that at the airport that they say have a nice trip. I'm like, you too. But the best one was when I told once the lady at the drive-thru at Wendy's that I loved her.
Stop.
I seriously did.
That's
she was
a good
like,
one.
here's your meal. Have a good day. I'm like, thanks, love you.
Thanks, bye, love you.
Oof. My sister was in the car and then like just made fun of me forever for that. But those are like silly, maybe like snafus, like, you know, bloopers in public. But then there are moments that we all have, and I keep underscoring it. I swear, if you're listening and you think you're the only one, you're not.
You're not.
Because one of the first things you and I bonded over was an embarrassing moment.
Yeah, this was actually I had to share an embarrassing moment for my audition for this podcast. So we really have bonded over it.
We're spilling the tea today on Smart Girls Podcast.
Oh, yeah. But I also want to say, I think there are really small and there are really big ones, but I think there are also kind of mid-level ones where in the moment it's like, oh my God. But then like even just the day after you're like, oh, that doesn't really matter. Like for me, a big one like that was in middle school. I'm not the most athletic person, I will admit. I got hit in the face with just about every single ball in PE, like soccer balls, footballs, volleyballs, basketballs, wall balls. Like
that's very impressive.
Everything. I know, without fail, like every single time, and like smack in my face, right in my face, every time. So those feel really embarrassing in the moment because you know that people saw it and like they're all making goals, they're all athletic, they're all good at it, and you just keep getting hit in the face. Like that's embarrassing, I'd say.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. But you're not getting away without telling the big embarrassing one.
Oh, I know.
Which was your yes, you're right. It was something we talked about in the audition, but truly like my heart just like opened up for you because again, I think I don't know. We'll see how the listeners respond, how many people had similar experiences. But you had a very common experience. Please tell your most embarrassing story.
So to date, I think this is the most embarrassing thing that has ever happened to me.
Really? Still?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Nicely done.
So this is another PE story. Seems like that's the origin of all my embarrassing stories at the current moment. But in 7th grade, we had to do swim PE, which was intimidating in and of itself because you have to be in a bathing suit around your classmates and it's swimming. And I knew how to swim, but I wasn't the strongest swimmer ever. So I put myself in the intermediate group. It was all going fine. And then it was the last day. I was so excited to be done with it. And they said we could wear whatever bathing suit we wanted. So I chose my sister's bathing suit, my older sister. It was from Forever 21. It was pink. It had avocados on it. I felt super cute. And it was a bikini, mind you. And it was also a little bit too big because it was my older sister's and I was in 7th grade. So I wore that. I felt super cute. All was great until the end of the period when we had to do races. The intermediate group against the advanced group. I was flipping out. So I went and I hid in the bathroom, actually. I thought I could avoid the situation. But I came out of the bathroom after many minutes, and they were all waiting for me. They didn't continue without me. They were all waiting for me. So I ended up having to race against this girl who was on the swim team. She was like a really good swimmer. And so we had to go. I was freaking out again, and I didn't like diving into the pool, so I jumped in. And when I jumped in, my bathing suit top fully came up. And so I was underwater, I was squirming, I was pulling it down, and then the other girl was like already halfway through the pool, so I had to just start swimming. I was halfway,
buddy.
She was already finished. They were yelling at me to just turn around after being halfway, so I turned around and she ended up beating me. She swam the full lap, and I only went halfway, and she still beat me. And I had to get out of the water and face my whole PE class after just having my top.
Do you think they saw what happened?
I hope not.
Oh my gosh.
I really
What did you do
hope
right
not.
after that?
I just didn't even say anything. I had friends in that class. I didn't say anything about it because if they didn't see it, I didn't want to make them know.
But when you get embarrassed, does your face get red?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like, even reading in class, I get so red. And it's not that's not an embarrassing thing. You're just reading out loud. But I get so nervous. And, I feel my cheeks getting all hot now just talking about it. Because it
just looks like blush right now.
But it's like I feel, my face feels hot. And that happens to me all the time, even if I'm not embarrassed.
I used to have a friend who would break out in rashes whenever she was embarrassed. So she couldn't hide it. Even if, nobody knew what happened, if we just looked at her at lunch, we would see, these blotches all over her. And I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah, why do our bodies do that to us?
Our bodies do that. We're actually going to talk about that later in the show. There is a scientific reason. Yeah.
But Jess, I want to know your most embarrassing story because you just put me through sharing that to the world.
Get away with
that.
Never. Well, first of all, look, everybody, I'm a girl with the last name of Weiner. Okay? So, that's a character building last name to begin with. And I
have Rudolph. I heard plenty of jokes about that.
Shay, you cannot compete with me for Weiner when you're a young girl. I heard every Weiner joke. There's not a hot dog related joke I have not heard in my life, and other things. So anyway, I had a character building last name, and then I will say I'll be the first one to talk about bodily functions on this show. I think I was in 4th grade. I feel like 6th grade I had a million embarrassing moments, but I think this one happened in 4th grade. Yes. Where I went to raise my hand in class because I was really excited to answer a question, and I farted at the same time. It was like my hand went up and I farted. And I was like, I couldn't control it. It just happened, and it was loud. It wasn't like a silent fart. It was a fart, and everybody knew it. And of course, everybody laughed. But the hardest part when an embarrassing thing like that happens, and it's your body, and you're young, people do not let you forget that.
No.
I heard about that the rest of the school year. So I had the fart moment, and thankfully nothing like that has ever happened to me since, but I feel like once is enough.
Yeah. I feel like one is one too many, honestly.
I think one is one too many too. But we're talking about embarrassing moments something happening to us, your top came down swimming, or I couldn't have a control over my bodily functions and I farted. But oftentimes too, embarrassing moments can be around school stuff, as we talked about, but sometimes they happen in front of your friends, in front of crushes and people you like, but also your family can have some embarrassing moments. So there's all kinds of ways that embarrassing moments come up, and I think that's our hope for this episode, right? We're going to face those embarrassing moments head on.
Yes.
We have an expert joining us later who's going to talk about the physical part of what happens to our body in those moments. And then we have a pretty awesome guest. Thank gosh she said yes to come on and talk about embarrassing moments. Who do we have today?
It's a very big ask. We have Brooklynn Prince with us today. You guys may know her from The Florida Project, or as Hildy Lisco in AppleTV Plus's Home Before Dark.
I love that one.
Oh my God, me too. I love both. But I am just so grateful that she wants to share some very embarrassing stories, and I cannot wait to hear all the funny things that have happened to her and get her to talk about some of the audience questions too.
I know you asked your community to ask some questions, and they asked some good ones.
Oh yeah.
So we're going to bring that up for Brooklynn as well. I can't wait to meet her. Should we get started?
Same, yes. So first of all, Phoebe, thank you so much for being willing to talk about some embarrassing moments, which I know even after the fact can still be kind of embarrassing to look back on. But I want to ask you, we both shared some of our most embarrassing stories earlier, like just now. And I want to know, what's your most embarrassing story?
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, this one's going to be just hold on tight. So
okay.
I was 8 and I had just, come a long way from the stomach flu, and my mom had gotten the stomach flu, and then this big audition came in. I was so excited. I had learned my lines even through the stomach flu, and I was like, okay. And my mom usually comes in with me and reads with me because she's like the professional acting coach, and my dad is not. He is a scientist. So my dad had to read with me. Why? That's where my story starts. So I get on and I get on the Zoom call because I'm in Orlando and they're in LA. And I was like, all of a sudden I start feeling my stomach bubbling up.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
And I'm like, oh, just keep breathing through it. Like, you're going to be okay. And so I was just keeping calm. I was like, okay, I'm not going to think anything of it yet. And to make matters worse, I was super nervous, but my dad kept messing up the lines.
Oh,
and he was saying my own lines.
Oh,
he was saying my own lines. And so I had to start back again like 4 times. And I was having a rough time here. And all of a sudden, my stomach just keeps bubbling up and bubbling up.
I'm like nervous for this story right now.
Yeah. And so, I get done with like my 2 scenes and, like you talk, like you engage. Yeah. And I was like talking to like all the producers, but I feel this little feeling. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to let it out. And so.
Uh-oh. What end did it come out of, BB? Which end?
It was the worst moment because 5 seconds before, they all just stopped talking and it was complete silence. And then you just hear,
BB.
And I'm like freaking out. My face is beet red. I'm like,
oh my gosh.
Oh and it was like this. I was like, and my dad starts laughing.
No.
Hard. And I'm like, oh no. And so.
What did they say? Did they say anything?
They didn't really say anything. They just I was like, just keep smiling. I was like, so I'm just like smiling. And I was like, yeah, this is really nice.
Oh my God.
And then we got off like 5 minutes later and I started like screaming and I went into the room and I like plopped on my bed and I was like screaming into the pillow. I was like, why?
Aww.
And then a few weeks later I got the job, which was like so weird. I was like, oh my gosh, but I was still so embarrassed.
See, it was a lucky fart.
Yeah, it was. Oh,
yeah. I was like,
BB, you and I share like similar embarrassing moments. So what I was telling Shay and our listeners before was, for me, it wasn't like as high stakes as in front of an amazing director and producers and up for an acting job, but it was 4th grade. I raised my hand in class to answer a question, raised my hand and farted at the same time. It's magical. We're like sisters in that moment.
I have a story like that too. One time somebody hugged me really, really tight and I just farted. It happens to the best of us.
It's a natural bodily function. Just happens to come up it comes up at the bad times.
Oh yeah.
It comes at the worst times, and I was so thankful it was on Zoom. And the director, John Chu, has never said anything about it until like the producers were like, we were all sitting around one day and they're like, remember when you farted on your audition? And I was like, oh, you remember that? And they were like, yeah, oh yeah, we remember that. And I was like,
you know what? It probably made you more endearing.
I was just gonna say that. I feel like it makes you more human. I feel like it was a lucky fart.
Now you have to do that for every audition.
Every audition,
every single
I have
one.
to fart in. So
yeah. No, but obviously now that you're talking about it and we're all laughing about it, I assume you've kind of gotten over that initial fear and worry and pure sheer embarrassment of it. So do you find it really funny now?
I do, and me and my family will sit around and laugh about it for like the longest time. But still part of me is really embarrassed, and part of me hopes that it never happens again. And it hasn't, so that's good.
Phoebe, how do you handle it, like when you have like if one of your friends does something embarrassing or embarrasses themselves? Like, what kind of friend are you? How do you kind of like gas them up? No pun intended. How do you I couldn't help it. How do you help support somebody in your world that like has an embarrassing moment?
Well, my life is pretty much full of embarrassment, and the friends I make and the family I have, it is one big ball of embarrassment juice. So,
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
In what way? Give us some details. Like, how does the family embarrass you?
So, my family once was sitting at the table, and we were all eating dinner, and it's like, my family, like the four of us in my family is my mom, my dad, my brother, and me. And then when we go to my grandparents' house, it's my grandparents, my aunt, my uncle, and my cousins. So we're all sitting around the table and we're all eating dinner and we're cutting up and stuff. And then my mom is like, "Oh, Baby just got her first training bra today." I was like, "Mother." And then everyone was like, "Oh, B." And then like my grandma will like randomly be like, "So Brooklyn, like, just so you know about, being a woman, just like, it's a very long process." And then like my friends are just, me and my best friend literally go into like bathrooms and just laugh and make jokes, and it's not the proper place to do it.
It sounds like your grandma should come be on our show. Like,
oh my god!
Definitely.
This is what we're all
I'll
about.
Just call her and be like,
we're trying
I'll call her and be like, "Mimi, can you come on, please?"
I love that. I love that. I think everybody's family embarrasses them to some degree.
But I think the thing is, like, they don't see it as embarrassing.
No.
We see it as embarrassing because we're going through it and we're young and it's still also new to us. But, like, I feel like as an adult, you might have a different perspective because you're like, oh, it's just normal. It's a human thing. But
no, I still get embarrassed too by my family. Yeah. I think it's mostly because, like, our family, I always say, like, we're just closest to our family and they know all the things. Yeah. And so, like, I think we can get more embarrassed if, like, mom says something or dad says something. We're like, ah. I don't know that you ever age out of that, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah. Sorry to tell you all that.
My family embarrasses everyone all the time.
But
it's a big circle.
So Shay asked her community for some scenarios, BB, of like questions they had about embarrassing moments. And they sent in so many, Shay.
Oh my God. Yeah. It was actually really hard to pick. They sent in questions and also embarrassing moments that they had really lived through. And there were some really funny ones. Wow. We were cracking up at some of them.
I know. And I think they're very relatable. So I thought I would read one of them and then have you all give some advice on how you would respond to a moment like that, or if anything like that's happened to you. Are you ready? Great. Okay. So somebody wrote in that they were really close to this person and their brother, and the brother's friends were all together, and they were eating at the kitchen counter, eating cookies and hanging out. And so this person took her friend's cup and because hers was empty, and kind of like chugged it, and then started laughing and snorted milk out of her nose in front of all these people. And she says, really embarrassing, and I still cringe, and it happened 2 to 4 months ago. So we covered farting, but has anybody spilled milk out their nose?
Not milk, but water has come out of my nose.
It has?
Yeah, it was in front of my family. I had a really bad case of the hiccups. And I had tried literally every single way to get rid of them. And my family was like, if you drink water upside down, it gets rid of them. And obviously they meant just like leaning over and drinking water, but I thought they meant fully upside down. So I put my water bottle down. I did a handstand against the wall and I drank out of my water bottle. And obviously because of gravity,
you're a weirdo.
It just came right out of my nose, and it actually really hurt. And I was really embarrassed because they were like, Shay, what are you doing? Yeah. And so stuff like that happens. What
would you tell this person, BB? Like, they're still thinking about it like 4 months later. So how do you get over something like that?
Like, I find it really good when I get something or something happens to me that's really embarrassing is I talk to the person I'm closest to, my mom, and I will spill everything out to her, like all my emotions, what I'm feeling. Just find someone that will listen to you and help you through it. Like, it's fun to like just sometimes also take positive out of it too, and just be like, you know what anyone else thinks about what happened is what they think about it. What I think about it is that this and that was really funny, and I'm going to continue to laugh about it now, and find that person that will also laugh with you about it, and you two can share that connection, and then it all just kind of goes away.
I love that it's about talking to somebody you love and trust too. But file under the mom family category. Here is another question or scenario that came in. So I want to know how y'all feel about this. I would file this under like embarrassing parents a little bit. So this person wrote in, my mom sings in the store. She sings and dances all the time. Whenever I go to the store with her and a song she knows comes on, she seems to think the world is her audience. She's even done it a few times when my friends are there and I felt embarrassed by it. But then when I went shopping with my friends and their moms, I realized they did it too. Familiar to anybody?
Yeah, I'm sorry to kind of out my mom like this, but in the grocery store or any store we're in, she starts dancing too. And I feel like it's just a mom thing. And I feel like it's like, I feel like I had a similar experience to this person who sent in this question, where once you realize that every mom does it and you kind of see the light in it and you start dancing and laughing, then it's not as embarrassing, and it doesn't have to be embarrassing at all. It's like, you're just having fun. No. What do you think?
Yeah, I think, well, my mom always sings whenever anything she knows comes on. Like, if she hears like music playing,
oh my God.
On like, if I'm playing music and she hears a song that I'm playing while I'm in the shower and she knows that shower too, she'll come in, she'll join in the chorus, but she won't alert me that she's coming in.
Oh my God.
Start belting it out, and I'm like, oh my gosh,
that's
Mom.
Funny.
And she'll like pull the curtain open and like grab a shampoo bottle and start, killing it. And I'm like, Mom, I'm in the shower.
Amazing. I was going to say, look, I said this to Shay, I don't know that we like grow out of those embarrassing mom moments. But I think what I would say to this person too is like, Shay and I were talking about this, BB. We were saying like sometimes embarrassment happens because we're afraid we're going to get judged by somebody else, right? Because like I think what we're talking about is actually kind of loving and joyful and fun. And it's a good thing to remember, like, what somebody else thinks of you that you don't know is really none of your business.
And it doesn't matter. It's their opinion. Really, all that matters is how you think of yourself. And if you have a positive outlook on that, then nothing is embarrassing. Everything's fun. You can just laugh it all off.
I agree. Yeah. All right. So last question we have for you, BB. And this is again in the vein of our Smart Girls podcast advice. Like, let's say we've not hit on this topic yet, and there's somebody listening, and they're like, "No, you guys do not understand. I've had the most embarrassing moment, and I'm never going to recover from it." What would each of you say to that person who feels like their life's never going to be the same? People aren't going to look at them the same. They're not going to treat them the same. Like, if someone's really struggling, Shay, what advice would you give to them?
I would say, like, for in the moment things, I think the best thing you can do is just laugh it off, because I think it feels so much worse when you really care about it and in the moment you feel really embarrassed, because then everything just feels like infinitely worse. But if you laugh it off, then people are kind of laughing with you, and it's like not as bad of a thing. But I feel like if it's after the fact and it's still really taking a toll on you, kind of like BB was saying, find somebody you can talk to about it. Find somebody that will be there for you through thick and thin when it comes to embarrassing moments or anything else, and somebody who can maybe share something that they went through too, like a mom. I'm sure every single mom has gone through an embarrassing moment where they feel like the world is ending, but they can share how they got over it and give like real life advice. So
yeah, I love that. BB, what would you say to someone who's living through their own embarrassing moment right now?
Oh, and embarrassing's hard, especially when you're in the young, and even when I am now, like being around kids my own age, sometimes I'm so on edge. And if I say one thing or do one thing, sometimes I'll even try and hide who I am just to fit in. And my mom will always be like, no, you're going to be who you are. You're going to wear mismatched socks. You're going to, you're going to tie a ribbon in your hair. You're going to wear 2 different earrings. Like, I think it's just believing in who you are as a person, and what you think of that embarrassing moment is what you think, and no one else should affect that, because it's being human. Everyone goes through that, and you can call probably any person on your contacts list and be like, hey, I went through a really embarrassing moment today. This and this and that happened. I don't know what to do. Has this ever happened to you? And they'll be like, oh, yeah, girl, I get it. So just like be comfortable in it. Make yourself, support yourself. Don't let other people support you and who you are. Let you support who you are.
Yeah. I love that. I'm hoping that anybody listening right now also just kind of feels better that we're not alone. I think the more we can talk about it, and I loved both of your advice about going to people you love and trust and talking about it. And you're right, BB, we're just human. Humans are imperfect, and stuff like this is going to happen all the time.
Oh, all the time. And I really love that you said just like trusting yourself and your own outlook on it. I think that is possibly like the best thing you could have ever said.
Let's be honest. Embarrassing moments lead to good stories later on.
This is true. This is true.
You're just getting good. You're just getting good background information to tell when it's time to tell it. BB, thank you so much for joining us on the Smart Girls podcast today.
Your stories were so good.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. I'm so glad I was able to share them.
I love BB. I love that she
amazing.
I love that she felt comfortable to say the story.
Me too.
All right, what was your favorite part?
My favorite part was at the end when she was giving her advice, and she really focused it on you being the one in control of the situation and how it feels for yourself. It doesn't matter what other people's reactions are, and you can lean on other people to talk through it, but it really is all up to you. If you want to let it go, let it go. Even if it's a huge moment, you can still allow it to not take everything over and control you. And it's hard, but you can.
Yeah, I had somebody once say to me that, like, it's not necessarily the things that happen to you, but how you react to the things that happen to you.
That's exactly it.
That reminded me of that moment. For me, I think that one of my favorite parts of our conversation with BB was the idea of talking to somebody you love and trust. And why I liked it was it reminded me again that we're not alone, and you can talk to somebody and share it. And I think when you share it, it becomes less heavy.
Yeah, I agree. And also, it's a good reminder that you don't have to go through everything alone. A lot of the time it feels like you do, and it feels like you're stronger if you do, but leaning on people is an amazing way to get through things.
And certainly I hope that everyone listening now knows that we all fart.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
And we all do embarrassing things.
Yes.
And we can bond over them and laugh over them, and it's normal.
And, you know, we have been laughing a lot, which is a good segue to something I wanted to share, Shay, because I know when we talk about embarrassing moments, we often go to the places of, like, things that happen to us that are embarrassing, like farting or, like, peeing our pants or falling down or spilling something. But I know that a lot of girls sometimes feel embarrassed just even speaking up about things that they care about, even saying like a preference, right? Like, you know, sometimes it's like when girls use their voices to say what they want, it can feel embarrassing, like we're being too bossy or being too bold in that way. And I want us to take a moment and like really think about like, why is that? Why, you know, for those of us that are like listening right now, like, you know, speaking up for something that matters to you doesn't have to be embarrassing. It can be empowering, you know? And there's this great part in the Knowing What to Say book. I swear this is what inspired us to do the embarrassing part. But it made me think because there's a part in this book about what to say when you have a different perspective or a different desire, a different choice. And let me give you an example. And I want to hear how you would feel about this, Shay. So if a friend invites you to a sleepover and you're afraid or don't like to sleep away from home, that can be embarrassing for some girls to speak up about that, right?
Yeah. And I've had to do that before. And I think, honestly, just being honest. If this is somebody who's actually your friend, they're going to understand. They should understand because it's a normal thing. And sleepovers can be really, really, really intimidating if you can't fall asleep in a place that's not your own home.
Right.
And so I'd say if going to somebody else's house is the problem, maybe invite them over to your house and say you want to have a sleepover there.
Yeah.
Or maybe, what if you're already over at somebody's house and then you realize that you're getting really anxious and you don't want to be there?
Yep.
You just let them know in the nicest way possible that you're getting really anxious and you need to go home and you can't spend the rest of the night there. And I've had to do that before.
You know, I had to do that too when I was younger. But I also remember, I can understand this as a really good scenario because sometimes like people just don't like sleepovers.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
That's totally okay.
And I think it's a lot of this embarrassment can come when you don't like what you think you're supposed to like.
Oh, that's good.
Or what your friends might like, or what you think you're expected to do. And one of the pieces of advice that they gave in the book was to maybe, and I loved yours, which is like, maybe you come to my house. The other was a suggestion that you might be able to speak up and say, you know, I'm not really comfortable sleeping over for the full night, but how about a half sleepover?
Yeah.
And I stay until like 10 or 11 and we hang out. Like, I love the idea that we could give specific ways to speak up about something that might feel embarrassing.
And that we can do things differently, like a half sleepover. And that's totally okay and would still be really fun too. And honestly, that's what I do most of the time.
Me too.
Yeah.
I don't love sleeping over at other people's houses, or I didn't when I was little. Yeah.
I used to like it a lot more than I like it now. Now I love my own bed and I want to sleep alone. I want to get a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
Like, sleepovers aren't always that fun.
Right. And then here's another scenario that I thought comes up a lot. And this, again, has to do with like being in other people's spaces. So what about if your friend's mom serves food that you don't want to eat or won't eat, and she's curious why you're not touching it or why you're not eating? Has that happened to you before?
It has. And I think for me, a lot of the time it would be like me being a vegetarian and they have meat. And so I'll just ask politely for something else maybe. Or like, sometimes it's scary to talk to the friend's parent because you don't have a close relationship with them. So a lot of the times I'll just ask my friend like, hey, is there something else I can eat? Or even honestly, sometimes when you're hungry at a friend's house, that's scary too. Like asking for something to eat.
Yes.
That is terrifying. But to stay on the topic, sometimes there's also just food that I'll try and I really don't like it. And a lot of the time I'll end up not speaking up about it, but a way to speak up about it is just to be very respectful and say like, oh, I'm not really hungry right now, or I don't really like this, or I don't want to try this right now, and still just acknowledge, like, you don't have to say, oh, this is really gross. Like, you don't have to be rude about it. Yeah.
I think it is intimidating to, again, say like a preference because I think girls a lot of the times are taught that like that's not being nice, quote unquote. And
it's just protecting yourself.
I think, and I think it's a way to speak your truth. So, you know, I think there's things you could say like, you know, if a parent or somebody says, you know, oh, why aren't you eating that? You know, you can say, oh, you know, I filled up on something else, or, you know, I really don't prefer that as much as I really love this. Like, I think there's a way you can do it in a polite manner, but I love that we shouldn't have to like skirt around it, that you don't have to be embarrassed. And also, look, somebody's family might be serving food that you've never tried before, and you might be afraid to try it or embarrassed that you don't know what's in it or what it is. It's also to say, oh, could you tell me a little bit more about that dish?
Yeah, ask about it.
Yeah.
Ask.
So I just really love that part of the Knowing What to Say book, because I think the things that also can tend to embarrass us is about what we like, the expectations of what we think we're supposed to be like.
And also maybe like expecting, like other people expecting you to know something and you don't know it. And that was something I wanted to bring up actually. Like a lot of the minuscule embarrassing moments happen at school. Yeah. Maybe when a teacher asks you a question and you say an answer you think is right and it's not. Or maybe when they say like, raise your hand if this is the right answer, and you're the only one that raises your hand and everybody else knows the right answer and you say the wrong answer. That can feel really embarrassing, but it's totally fine to ask questions. And also like something that I always love, a lot of my teachers would say like, if you come out of the gate and be like, oh, this might be a really dumb question because you expect everybody to know it, there is no such thing as a dumb question. You know what you know, and asking the question is the first step.
I personally would love to erase that from girls' vocabulary. I don't want us to do disclaimers anymore when we ask questions. You know what I say instead? I say, hey, I'm curious about.
I love that.
Or I'm wondering about. So you know how before, Shay, I was telling you that I had a friend who like would break out in rashes, like, or, you know, when she was getting nervous. So I thought it would be really great to invite back our friend of the show, social worker Katie Hurley, and ask Katie some questions about how embarrassment shows up in our body and what we can do about it.
Because that in that in and of itself can be really embarrassing.
Exactly.
Like getting really red in your face and getting hives. That's embarrassing too.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that Katie has some answers for us on
yes,
how that embarrassment shows up, why, and then what we can do about it.
Yes.
So let's chat with Katie.
Katie, thank you so much for joining us again. This is a really fun episode. We are talking all about embarrassing moments. And we have some questions that maybe talk more about the scientific side of embarrassing moments rather than the moment itself. So the first question I have for my audience is, when I do something embarrassing or get embarrassed by someone else, I turn bright red. I can't control it. I feel so hot when it happens, and I can't make it stop. What is that from? And can I do anything to look less embarrassed so I at least have a shot at playing it cool?
I think we're all wondering this. If that's how our bodies react, what's going on there? Do you know?
Well, what's happening is a physiological response to what is really stress. You know, we always think of stress as this bad thing. Stress can actually be good. It can be healthy. We all have some amount of stress at most times, and it's not always a super negative thing. It's not always this thing that's like hanging over us and making us feel worried all the time. Like sometimes it's just like an awkward situation can have some sort of stress attached to it. And so that's your body responding because you're trying to hold it in and not really say anything or respond to it. And your body is just basically rebelling against you, and it's rising up to your cheeks. Some people tend to be blushers and some people aren't. Yeah. And that's, DNA and luck of the draw to some degree. I think it's so hard when you're young because you feel like all these things are the thing that people are going to remember about you.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not, right? Everyone in this room can say, these are not the things people are going to remember about you. And everyone has like super embarrassing situations that they go through. But I always say, like, just kind of own it and laugh about it. I have a dear friend who's such a blusher. And so she would be like, oh my God, here it comes. The cheeks are turning red. I can feel it, without even seeing it.
So if you say something, you can kind of get ahead of it a little bit.
Yeah, you can own it, right? Yeah. You can make a joke or you can just kind of call it out for what it is. And then you get ahead of the problem and you don't have to sit there worrying about it. Other people have different reactions. Like some people laugh uncontrollably when they get either nervous or embarrassed. My daughter does that.
When I get nervous, like if I see somebody fall, I just start laughing. And it's so bad because it makes the moment like 10 times worse than it needs to be. And I feel horrible too because I'm like, I shouldn't be laughing like you're in pain. But it just, it happens. And then I get really red too.
Well, I was telling Shay, I went to school once when I was younger with a girl who like just broke out in little rashes. Like anytime she was embarrassed, like she couldn't hide it at all. So I love that the advice is like kind of just own it or just be like, I might be feeling embarrassed, like that kind of stuff. But I want to jump to something because you actually said people won't remember embarrassment. But we did have a question that said, will I always remember our embarrassing moments? What do you think about that?
I think I'm trying to think of myself, like how many embarrassing moments do I feel like I have a lot, so I remember some of them. I think sometimes we hang on to things, sometimes because it becomes a funny story later on. Then we remember something that was particularly embarrassing and we retell it to friends, later in life, and it becomes sort of like battle stories, when you're in college and you're sharing stories of embarrassing things that happened in high school. But I think we're allowed to give ourselves permission to move on. You know, sometimes life is awkward and embarrassing, and we're allowed to let go of that and say, that doesn't have to be a part of my whole life. That can just be that one moment.
Well, I'm so glad you explained the physical connection too, and that some of it's like DNA, just kind of luck of the draw, how it's there. I was just going to shake up these questions a little bit because we asked our guest, Brooklyn, some embarrassing moments for her. Katie, could I put you on the spot and say, you're this amazing expert, author, speaker, social worker. What's your worst embarrassing moment that you might share with us?
Oh my gosh. My worst embarrassing moment?
Or any embarrassing moment that you feel like you want to share.
I have one.
Okay, good.
Okay. 7th grade, I was at lacrosse practice at my school. So I was on my school team and it was at lacrosse practice. We were all sitting in a circle stretching. And somebody came over to me and whispered, "You bled through your pad. You bled through your pad." But she said it kind of loud, so everybody looked, and I was like, what? And then she was like, I'll help you. And she just like, we ran off to the bathroom without telling the coach we were going. And then she was like, you have to use tampons. And I was like, I don't know how. And it was like this whole thing. And then I discovered it was like on my skirt. And like, it was like this whole, and then I had to wear pants that were too big the rest of the day. And it was like, oh my gosh. But now I look back at that and I go, you know what? I got through that.
Yep.
I was all right. I mean, it was totally mortifying, and it was mortifying that someone else saw it. But then I was also grateful that she noticed and alerted me to it and dragged me off to fix the situation.
Yeah.
So
wasn't so much of a whisper she was giving you. No, but I think a lot of folks wrote in that anything period related has been an embarrassing moment. All of a sudden you're wearing these beautiful white pants and you realize, you got to wrap a sweater around it. Yeah. I mean, I did share earlier, I farted when I raised my hand in class. So like anything bodily function wise, I think can be super, super embarrassing. But I love that you were so a good champ and you're willing to share that too, because I just think it's great for everybody to remember. We all have them.
We totally all have them. Yeah. I want to wrap this up by asking a kind of maybe an obvious question, but one that we don't really ask a lot. What even is embarrassment? People were asking if there's a definition or a physical explanation for why our bodies feel the way they do or do the things they do, like getting really red or maybe getting hives when we feel embarrassed. Why?
Well, I think from the physiological standpoint, it's like we're experiencing some stress and anxiety when we're anxious or when we're embarrassed. And so oftentimes when we're anxious or stressed, we have physical responses. You might get a stomach ache, you might feel dizzy, so that sort of red face or I'm sweating profusely, that's kind of wrapped up in the stress and anxiety piece. But I always say to kids, like, I actually kind of think embarrassment is a social construct, which is a fancy way of saying like, that's something we put on ourselves, right? Because we worry about what does someone else think of me in this moment? And the truth is, it doesn't matter what someone else thinks of you in that moment. What matters is how you cope with it and how you feel about yourself and how you rebound.
Love it. Katie, thanks so much for being here and for sharing that embarrassing moment with us.
Thank you so much. It was great.
Thank you. I'm glad to have it recorded for all time.
Thanks so much to Katie and to everybody who's been listening to the Smart Girls podcast with Shay and Jess. If you're an adult or a parent listening with your smart girl, you can follow us. And if you don't mind, write a review. It really helps us out.
Hope you tune in.